Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Audrey here. In today's video, I'm going to make a fun video. Let's talk about the small Hoya. I don't mean the small Hoya cutting or the small Hoya plant that I purchased. I mean the Hoya with tiny little leaves. So let's start it. When talking about small Hoya, the first Hoya come to my mind is Hoya Courtesy Eye. Sadly, I don't really have that Hoya. I did have it when I first collecting Hoya, and it died on me. So I have not tried that Hoya again, just because the first experience with that Hoya was not a really good experience for me. So let's start this video with my smallest Hoya, the Hoya Bella in my collection. It's a tiny little Hoya, probably the smallest Hoya in my collection, and it's also had some troubles previously with me, and I started to growing this one again after dealing with it for 2 or 3 years of beautifully growing and died off, and then try to save the cuttings to growing all over again. I'm hoping this time I can make it right. It is tiny, it is cute, and look at those tiny little leaves. It's probably just the same size as my nail. So yes, it's definitely a beautiful Hoya. I see some people has a big Hoya Bella in their collection, and they grow so beautifully. It has its unique pattern when they get bigger, just from how branches and the shape of the leaf. I do think it's a beautiful Hoya, even though they're tiny. This Hoya can be a big specimen in your collection if you're growing it beautifully, which is my goal for this Hoya. So hopefully this year get it right. The next on my collections for tiny little Hoya is this Hoya Ry Flora. You can see it's such a tiny little Hoya. The leaf is growing really tiny when they're first coming out of the pot. Even the mature leaves right here is not those kind of big flourish, big leaves Hoya for sure. So yes, it's such a cute little Hoya. I love those shapes of the Hoya. I really see a Hoya with this rectangular shapes Hoya leaves, and this is the one reason actually draw me to this Hoya. It's also growing pretty slow, and has some hard time. I have some hard time with this Hoya when I first got it, but I think we're getting to know each other really well at this moment. So hopefully I can see what's the beauty of this Hoya when it become a big size Hoya, and no longer this kind of little Hoya cutting. But yes, this is such a cute little Hoya. Next is this Hoya Cory, where black and silver and the regular Cory. I have the black and silver, so I'm gonna show you this one because this black one looks better compared to the silver one. It's a small type of Hoya. You can see from the leaf size, they're pretty tiny. They kind of remind me of Courtesy Eye. It's just the leaf size a little bit bigger and a little more in texture wise compared to Courtesy Eye. It's also really growing beautifully, and the leaves, I don't know, you can see some leaves, they're so tiny. Even the mature leaf, this is probably the largest in my pot as a mature leaf. The size compared to some bigger Hoya, this is really a tiny little leaves. So yes, this is definitely the small type Hoya, but I love it. I think I may losing some colors on this one because instead of being it's supposed to be a darker, almost black purple color. With being a winter time, less sun exposure, it's kind of lose some color. So hopefully when the summer comes, it started to growing to be a darker purple black color again. But overall, I love this Hoya. It's so beautiful. Another small leaf Hoya is this Hoya Varada. As you can see, when it first coming out, it was pretty tiny. Even the mature leaves right here, the size wise is compared to some other Hoya, the leaves is pretty tiny. It's cute. It reminds me of there was one tree when it's fall come, they kind of the leaves turning like a golden yellowish color. I can't remember the name. I probably put the name on there if I remember later on. But this plant, the shape of these leaves remind me of that tree. It's just such a beautiful plant. Tiny little leaves but clustered together, and just such a beautiful plant. The last one I can think of is this Hoya Rita. Actually it's got a little bit bigger than I thought I would get. When I first get the Hoya cutting, they were tiny little leaves, kind of like this size leaves. And I thought this is gonna be a tiny little Hoya, which is, I'm totally okay with this one. It's such a beautiful Hoya. I love the color on the leaves. I loved how beautiful it when they get sun stressed, but I did not expecting this to grow in about this big size leaves. So yes, compared to other bigger Hoya, this one still's on my small Hoya list for sure, but it can grow a little bit bigger than expected. So those are the tiny little leafy Hoyas in my collections. As you probably realize that I don't really have that many tiny leaf Hoya. I kind of like the flourish, big, not a succulent, huge, big leafy Hoya, but elegant, color variegated, a little bit elegant, dripping down kind of Hoya leafy Hoyas. So yes, I hope you all enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. Happy growing!